Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the East Bay Regional Park District Board of Directors. We are halfway live. And today is October 19th, 2021. It is 1:08. And pursuant to the East Bay Regional Park District Resolution 2021-09277 and the Brown Act, as amended by AB 361, the East Bay Regional Park District headquarters will not be open to the public, and the board of directors and staff will be participating in board meetings via phone and or video conferencing. And we have a hybrid today. We have 4 board members live, and then we have 3 on teleconference. So Yolanda, Madam Clerk, can you please tell people how they can participate in this meeting today?
Yes, President Rosario. People can participate by sending an email to me at ybaliel@ebparks.org. They can call 510-544-2016, or they can send an email to, or they can simply call into the meeting. Thank you.
Director Coffey, would you please lead us in the pledges of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I have the honor of doing the acknowledgement today. In honor of Indigenous Peoples' Day last week, I wanted to acknowledge and give recognition to the Segura Te Land Trust. And they're part of the Least John people. For thousands of years, hundreds of generations, the Least John people, Ohlone people, have lived on the land that is now known as the East Bay in the San Francisco Bay Area. They did not own land, they belonged to it. Generation after generation, they cultivated reciprocal relationships with the plants and animals they shared with this place and developed beautiful and powerful cultural practices that kept everything in balance. The Confederate Villages of Least John is one of many Ohlone tribes, each with its own geography and history. The tribes, cultures, and languages are as diverse as the ecosystems they live in. And when the Spanish invaded in the late 1700s, in their ignorance, they called them Costanoan, people of the coast. There are 8 different tribes of Ohlone people connected, but different territories and languages. The Least John people speak Chichenyo. The Least John are made up of 7 tribes that were directly enslaved at Mission San Jose and Fremont, Mission Dolores in San Francisco, Least John Ohlone, Karkin, Bay Miwok, Plains Miwok, Wapo, Delta Yokut, Yapian. These are the tribes that were represented and victimized in the missions. The territories includes 5 Bay Area counties in Alameda, Contra Costa, Solano, Napa, and San Joaquin. And I want to, the Segura Te Land Trust is based in Huichin, in unceded Least John territory, what is now known as Oakland, Berkeley, Alameda, Piedmont, Emeryville, Albany, and Albany. And I just wanted to bring attention to the 3 land trusts that are in the East Bay. There is the Least John in East Oakland. There is the Gill Tract in Albany, and I'm at a loss for the 3rd one in West Oakland. But there is, I just wanted to acknowledge them and their practice of bringing back the land and their culture. And I hope everyone can take a look at their website and consider participating in the land tax and supporting these efforts to bring back culture into the land. And so, thank you very much. And with that, do we have any public comments?
Yes, President Rosario, but we didn't do the roll call.
Oh, yes, please. I'm skipping around. I've got,
Yeah, that's okay. So we're gonna start with Director Coffee,
Present.
Director Lane,
Present.
Director Waspy. Here. Director Eccles,
Present.
Director Wieskamp,
Here.
Director Corbett,
Here.
and President Rosario.
here,
Members of the executive team, General Manager Landreth,
Present.
the District General Manager, DGM, can't say that, Alvarez,
Present.
District Council Victor,
Here.
CFO AGM Walker,
Present.
Chief Chiobaro, AGM Kelchner, AGM Johnson,
present.
AGM O'Connor,
Present.
and Government Affairs Eric Fueler, and AGM Cook. Oh, she's hiding. There you go. All right,
Present.
thank you.
Great, thank you. And then would seek approval of the agenda.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk,
Yes.
a roll call vote, please.
Director Coffee,
Aye.
Director Lane,
Aye.
Director Waspy, Director Eccles,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp,
Aye.
Director Corbett,
Aye.
and President Rosario.
Aye,
Thank you. It's unanimous.
unanimous.
And
Okay. And now, any public comments?
yes, we do have, yes, we do have three speakers. We have, I'm going to call all three of them. Jason Turbo, Chris Fallon, and Rick Ricard. Please stop your video until I call on you. You will have 3 minutes to speak. I will go off video. When you see me come back on video, that means you have 30 seconds left. So we will start with Jason Turbo. I saw you when you came. There you go. Jason, you're on mute. Thank
We
you.
good?
3 minutes, sir.
All right, thank you for the time. Hello, everybody. I am here representing the Wildcat Composite mountain bike team. I'm a coach with the team. We handle middle school riders from Albany, Berkeley, and El Cerrito with the goal of fostering a love for mountain biking and shepherding them into their high school mountain bike experience. And I would just like to urge all of you here to consider opening up Tilden and Wildcat Canyon for additional mountain biking opportunities. I've noticed over the last couple of years that the park space in question has become quite crowded, with all the mountain bikers kind of filtered into a very kind of narrow array of trails. And I urge you guys to open up that access for our kids. One thing I really appreciate about our team leadership is that we view ourselves as a small part of a larger ecosystem. One of the first things we teach our kids is that when you encounter a hiker, you must be going slow enough to offer a hello and to receive a hello in response. And the increased numbers of bikers we're seeing in our group just over the last couple of years since the pandemic is really a strong statement to me that this community is bursting at the seams. And additional trails within our home territory, which is Tilden and Wildcat Canyon, is really essential. The final piece of the equation I'd like to get across to you is that this is an incredibly active community, be it in the East Bay or in the North Bay or on the peninsula. Mountain bikers are very involved in trail stewardship, ecological maintenance. Right now, we're just hampered by a lack of opportunity. And if you are able to prioritize opening additional trails to us, we would be jumping at the opportunity to not only to maintain the trails, but to really help the park system as a whole for all users and not just mountain bikers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Chris Fallon.
Hi there. So like Jason, I'm also a coach with the Wildcat Composite Group. And I'd like to start by thanking all of you for taking the time to hear my comments, and also to thank all of you for all that you do to manage the shared resource that is the East Bay Park system. My family lives adjacent to Tilden on Wildcat Canyon Road. So we've always had the privilege of making good use of the park. My children participated in camps at the Little Farm, the junior lifeguard program at Lake Anza, and the junior rangers program that's operated there at Tilden. We are also 4 avid mountain bikers, and over the pandemic, we've had the course of watching from our window the hundreds of riders a day that drop down into the park to enjoy all of its richness on 2 wheels. Over the past year, my kids have also both joined organized mountain bike teams that take them regularly into Tilden and Wildcat, and I was lucky enough to join them on these adventures as a coach for both teams. This experience really alerted me to the critical mismatch that exists between users of all sorts and the very limited number of trails that exist in Tilden and Wildcat for dedicated use, things like mountain bikes. As the parks have increased in popularity, the level of congestion and restriction has created all sorts of unsafe and undesirable side effects that I'm sure you're all aware of, from things like unauthorized trail creation to conflicts between, say, riders and hikers, or horseback riders and hikers, or et cetera. However, the last year has also taught me that there's a sort of invaluable untapped resource in the local mountain bike teams that do use the parks, and that mountain biking can be a great partner in helping the East Bay Park sort of open up new trail access to alleviate that congestion and create new resources for users of all different sorts. It's amazing to me what I've seen over the last year coaching kids to mountain bike is you bring new people into the park, and they go from being sort of lost, not knowing any of the trail names, to really, at the end of the season, feeling a sense of ownership of the park, in the sense that they feel like this is their space, and they know the whole park sort of from end to end, and really come to view themselves as part of a valuable group of people who use that space. While Tilden's our home base, we ride all over the Bay Area, and they're keenly aware of other models for trail building. And we do a lot of work volunteering to help maintain those spaces. And I know that's an energy that they would love to sort of bring to what they regard as their own backyard in the park. So my message is please put my kids and all of these kids to work, and give them an opportunity to help build and enjoy new terrain and space in a place that they've genuinely come to love, and help me sort of set up that next generation of park users. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. President Rosario, I misspoke. The other speaker is speaking on another item, 2A. So we do not have any other public comments. Let me do a quick check. If there's anybody in the meeting that has a public comment, an item that is not on the agenda, if you would raise your hands and let me know, I would appreciate it. Don't want to miss anyone. And it looks like we're good. Thank you, President Rosario.
Thank you. And next we have consent calendar. Do we have any board members have any questions on consent?
President Rosario, there were members of the board that had questions on consent. That would be Directors Lane and Rosario and Colin. Directors Lane, Rosario, and Colin. Colin would like to pull item H. Okay. The other items, I believe they've all been attended to. I'm not sure. Item C, Director Lane. I don't know if they were, I believe they responded to you, but I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see that. Staff is here if you need them to respond. It was a question about the map. Director Lane?
On item C?
No, that was not my question.
Okay. Then, okay, Director Rosario, were all of your items responded to?
Yes, but I just wanted to have one for the benefit of the public, one question that to be answered in public. And that it is regard to, after we can bring it up with the discussion, because I believe Director Coffey is pulling item H, and I believe that is one and the same.
Yeah, that's the wage increase.
Yes.
And then Director, just one other thing, Director Lane did have a question on item L.
Okay,
Yeah, that was answered.
Yeah, that was answered.
okay, great. So we should have a discussion for item H.
Thank you, President Rosario. I asked that item H on the consent calendar be pulled. It is authorization to implement wage increases for unrepresented employees and appropriate funds and revise the personal administrative manual to include Juneteenth as a paid holiday. In other words, authorize wage increases and other agreements that were recently entered into with Local 2428 and make them applicable to our unrepresented employees. I remember 4 years ago, this came up and I thought it was a good idea that we ought to at least hear from management as to, rather than just automatically doing that, make sure as stewards of our fiscal integrity that this is a wage increase that is comparable to, at least within the range of comparable wage increases among the traditionally comparable agencies that we use to find out. Basically, the bottom line is, are these wage increases reflecting the market out there, as opposed to just something we're automatically doing because that's what the union negotiated.
Can you hear me okay? All right. Thank you, Director Coffey, for the question. AGM Cook is here to respond to your question.
Good afternoon, President Rosario and Board of Directors. To answer the question regarding the 3% that we're asking that you authorize for the unrepresented. Oh, thank you. Sorry, a lot of buttons to push. As we presented to you during negotiations, on average, a lot of the comparator agencies were settling for 3%. And so ultimately, that is what AFSCME accepted in addition to equity increases. It is standard in the industry to also give unrepresented the same as miscellaneous or civilian unions, and that is what we're proposing today. Mid-Penn is the most recent contract that settled. They settled for 3% over 3 years, and they also simultaneously gave that to their unreps. So we believe it is standard in the industry to do that. It avoids compactions, and we think it is fair to our unrepresented employees. And it's not a me too, because the other economic terms do not apply. So we think that this is fair and it's standard in the industry.
Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to hear.
And I think there was a question about Juneteenth.
Yes, my question was, Juneteenth is, it says in the packet, all employees, and I just wondered how this is going to affect the Police Officers Association. And then I have a follow-up question on the pins.
Sure, I can answer on the Police Association, and I think Dr. Alvarez can answer on the other question. So the Police Association MOU, which is open next year for negotiations, says that holidays that are authorized by the board will also apply to them. So even though it says that, it's still a mandatory subject to bargaining that we are prepared to negotiate with the Police Association, either through a separate meet and confer process or when their contract is open. So if that's your desire for us to do so, we will of course notice the union for that.
Yeah, I think the intent was that if we're 2428 was successful in getting a holiday, that it would be to all employees. So yeah, meet confer would be with the POA would be desirable.
Okay, great. It is an important holiday to the Park District, and I think with the general manager's blessing, we're willing to do that.
Great, thank you. And then my question on the pins, the Black Employees Association submitted a design for a pin and we weren't able to get it out. And I was wondering, is there an opportunity to manufacture those pins and using that design, or what are?
Yes, thank you, Director Rosario, Deputy General Manager, Dr. Ana Alvarez. And yes, the Park District has a tradition of celebrating events and cultural occurrences throughout the year by commemorating the opportunity through a pin, which it resides in public affairs. And we certainly would like to distribute an issue and design a pin that celebrates Juneteenth as a new holiday in commemoration of the Park District's interest in celebrating that holiday. In terms of the Black Employee Collective design, we certainly would like to see it, and we would love to work with them and take a look at what they're proposing, given that we want to make sure that whatever the pin that is manufactured is within the design guidelines, and that it can be mass produced. So I've spoken to Public Affairs, and Carol Johnson, AGM of Public Affairs, understands and is here, and we'll look forward to creating a pin that will celebrate the holiday.
Great, thank you.
Carol, is there anything else you would like to add?
Thank you, Deputy General Manager Alvarez. Carol Johnson, AGM of Public Affairs. And yes, I think that we can certainly work together with and coordinate the look and feel that represents the district in the best way. So I look forward to engaging in that process.
Great, thank you. I certainly enjoyed the pin that we had for LGBTQ, which I love to wear. So thank you very much.
May I ask a question on item D, please? And that would be, so this involves the approval of the new agreements for catering services for the Park District Reserve facilities. We've chosen 15 caterers, and the criteria that they said was used was, one of them was to provide catering services that utilize environmentally friendly practices. And I was wondering, the district, I'm told, is working on an environmentally preferred purchasing policy, which includes, I hope it includes our caterers, and I hope it includes all of the people that work in under the name of the Regional Park District. And I was wondering if these caterers were required, or they got extra points or whatever. I guess we accepted all of them that applied. If they had Alameda County or Contra Costa County green business certification.
Good afternoon, President Rosario, members of the board. This is Jim O'Connor, your Assistant General Manager of Operations, and I'm going to actually pass that question to our Business Services Manager, Tiffany Margalisi, who actually managed the RFP process.
Good afternoon, Tiffany Margalisi, Business Services Manager. Good afternoon. This is so different. So thank you for the question. We have several ways that we address this in our RFP. One, the contract for all of our rental facility caterers prohibits sale or use of any non-recyclable containers or plastics. That's one area. The other areas they're required to use our recycling and green waste systems that are available. Currently, that is available at the Tilden Park Brazilian Room, and we are working on getting it at all of our 3 other locations. In addition, as part of the proposal, the caterers included a waste reduction plan to highlight what they're doing in terms of waste reduction, and we'll be reviewing those plans with each caterer as part of their onboarding process. To answer your question about the Bay Area Certified Green Business, we do have one, which is exciting out of the 15. And we are really working closely with Andrew Green and the recycling team to keep improving in all areas. We also did check, many of the caterers do work with food reuse programs, where if they have excess food that still can be consumed. A lot of those programs have been suspended during COVID, but hopefully we'll be restarting again in the near future.
Great, thank you. So if in fact we passed a environmentally preferred purchasing policy, and it said something like, just out of the blue, we're not going to use plastic straws anymore, would that apply to our concessionaires also?
So I am coordinating with the finance team who's putting together the environmentally sustainable purchasing policy. And there is reference to including those elements for concessionaires and caterers.
Thank you.
Tiffany, can and this question got answered for me via email, but I think it'd be beneficial for the public to hear is how these concessionaires and vendors, how diverse they are, and the communities they try to they come from and emulate.
Thank you, Director Rosario. So currently, race or their caterers, the business owner's ethnic background is not one of the criteria in the RFP. We do, and we don't collect that data currently. We do have one caterer on our list who identifies in their marketing that they're a minority-owned business, a woman-owned business. And if you do click through the links to the different websites, most of the caterers have a little element of telling their own story. And I do think when looking at all the different stories, we do see diversity, but it's not data that we currently collect. Okay.
Any other questions on consent? Anything on, oh, do I see Director Corbett? Did you have your hand up?
No, I was just getting ready to make the motion to move when the time comes.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, motion accept. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second, Director Waspy. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Yes, President Rosario. Director Coffee,
Aye.
Director Lane. Aye. Director Eccles,
Aye.
Director Wasfy,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp. Director Wieskamp. Aye, you're muted. Director Corbett,
Aye.
President Rosario.
Aye.
Consent calendar passes unanimously.
We are now at item number 2, executive and legislative decision or division. Authorize the naming of Doug Seiden Visitor Center at Crab Cove, Robert W. Crown Memorial State Beach. And I welcome Carol Johnson.
Yes, this is a little different. Yes, hello again. I'm Carol Johnson, the Assistant General Manager of Public Affairs. And Eric Fuller and I, he's our Government and Legislative Affairs Chief, will today be presenting what I hope is a very exciting address to propose to honor a former EBRPD Director, Doug Seiden. And we would hope that, thank you. We would hope today that this presentation will initiate a formal resolution to approve the naming of the Crab Cove Visitor Center to reflect Doug Seiden's name for his longstanding years of service, not just to the Park District, but especially to the city and community of Alameda. Next slide, please. Specifically, Doug is a very dear friend of mine personally because I worked with him for close to 16 years, and he did spend a long time with the Park District, over 20 years. But before that, Doug has been an incredible servant to his community. He's been a community minister. He has been a very important civil rights advocate and an environmental justice and social justice advocate as well. He's a beloved father, husband, grandfather, and I'm sure to many others, a dear friend. Today, we're going to discuss his contributions to the Park District and to the community. Next, thank you. So there's such a big breadth and depth of Doug's life. Really, this presentation will not really do it justice, but we're going to try. Doug started as a very young minister in the 60s and developed an interracial church that supported the fair housing and integration in the community. He marched with the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in Alabama between Selma and Montgomery, and with Cesar Chavez on behalf of better treatment for farm workers. Later, he was the former founding board member of the Martin Luther King Freedom Center in Oakland, of which I am now a part of the board. And he, along with Congresswoman Barbara Lee, created this organization to advance youth and family civic engagement, ethical leadership, and economic and educational equity to the most vulnerable high poverty communities. I'm proud to say that organization is still thriving very significantly within the city of Oakland and serves many hundreds of students and young people annually. Next. Doug was elected in 1992, the first of 5 terms as director of the East Bay Regional Park District, until his retirement in 2016. After those 24 years of elected service, his unwavering commitment to environmental justice supported public access to thousands of acres of shorelines and parks during the greatest years of growth in the Park District's history. Doug, in terms of the areas that he participated in, I'm sorry, can I get this off the computer? Sorry, something just popped up on this computer. During his tenure, Doug participated with the creation of the Tidewater Boating Center, Ensenada Beach, extension of the Bay Trail, and especially Alameda, Crown Beach, and the dearly beloved Crab Cove Visitor Center. He spent many a night in Alameda, and I'm sure in many other places, advocating for the East Bay Regional Park District through city councils, community meetings, and many other organizations that would soon become friends and colleagues to the Park District. In his specific hometown, Doug was very influential in supporting the $5 million project to replace the sand, a very unique endeavor that we undertook about 10 years ago to replace the sand at the beach itself by pumping it from offshore. Now I'd like to introduce Eric, who will take over and discuss the legislative and policy advocacy that Doug has brought to the East Bay Regional Park District. Eric.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Feeler, Chief of Government and Legislative Affairs. Very honored to be joining AGM Johnson in this presentation today. When I first interviewed at the Park District, I said to Pat, I see Doug everywhere. And Pat said, well, we actually think there are 2 Dougs. And I think this advocacy on the legislative front is a good example of that. Also, as AGM Johnson mentioned, his contributions to the city of Alameda, attending city council meetings and giving updates on the Park District, just a real community hero and champion for the Park District and a number of other entities that Carol mentioned earlier. Just in terms of some of the items on here, the GSA property, many of you recall, was literally us taking on the federal government, and Doug was very strong and steadfast and stood with the community in terms of being determined to make sure that that property came to the Park District. Could not have done that without him. As AGM Johnson just mentioned, the FEMA funding for sand replacement, that wasn't just the $5 million. It was also restoring or getting some funding to restore after some storm damage. And it was a major accomplishment to obtain that funding. He also was instrumental in Alameda Point and the Bill Lockyer portion of the trail, which is the bridge. between San Leandro and Oakland. And then his work at CSDA is really remarkable. I know we note here the 2 awards that he won and being president. He was president of CSDA for 10 years of the Alameda County chapter. The Alameda County chapter was founded by the Park District, and Doug very much took ownership and leadership in that field, and just really a great contribution to the overall special district community in the entire state. Next slide, please. I got to know Doug as well in 2004 in the Measure CC campaign. He was the campaign chairman for both of these measures, CC and WW. Really, just nobody could run a meeting like Doug. Really just a remarkable way of leading a campaign in terms of just bringing enthusiasm, bringing people together, really making a productive use of time when we did have campaign meetings. Measure CC, as it states, was $47 million. It actually was the first parcel tax that the district passed. Doug was key in making sure that items like the Crab Cove Visitor Center received funding, and we received funding to stay open year round. Crab Cove originally or historically was open 9 months out of the year. So this measure directly funded full-time operation of that facility, among a number of other things. It passed by 68% of the vote. And as you all know, we extended it in 2018 and continue to use funding from Measure FF to keep the Crab Cove Visitor Center year-round, open year-round. Measure WW at the time was the largest park bond in the nation. It was really a remarkable effort. I think it was probably a 3-year effort. AGM Johnson can correct me if I'm wrong on that. It may have even been longer. But he literally was the leader and brought people together again. The campaign committee, as it notes here, raised the funds, did the flyers and the phone calls, and really was a remarkable mobilization throughout the entire East Bay. And again, passage by 72% of the vote. Next slide, please. And then we would be remiss without talking about a little bit about other community service. Obviously, the San Leandro Creek Alliance is a passion of Doug's. The appointment by Secretary Babbitt under the Clinton administration to serve on the advisory committee for Golden Gate National Recreation and Point Reyes, truly remarkable. And he has also been very involved in the Alameda County Democratic Club, Commonwealth Club, and a number of camping associations was one of his passions. And it is what led him to run for the Park District Board of Directors seat. Next slide, thank you. And then this is just the story of Doug's life in terms of his family. Very proud of his family. You can just see the love and understand the heart that is behind Reverend Sy. And there's also a number of awards. Not sure what. There's a number of awards.
Is somebody volume on?
A number of, I think it's still echoing. Oh, no, maybe not. So a number of awards that he received and throughout his lifetime, and just really an honorable man. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, and in consultation with Director Seiden, the recommendation is to name the Crab Cove Visitor Center, or the Visitor Center at Crab Cove, Doug Seiden Visitor Center at Crab Cove, knowing that Crab Cove is more than just the visitor center, it's a place. And we also have in the recommendation, and I believe our PAC Chairman Rick Rickard is available to comment on, but a proposed moratorium on naming after persons until the district is able to re-examine its naming policy and be more sure about how the process works, including the PAC's role therein. And lastly, I just personally want to say I'm very honored to be presenting on behalf of Doug. Nobody really has done more for my career at the Park District than Doug Seiden. And I just wanted to say that I think he's well deserved, and great, great individual. So with that, I think we're available to take questions.
Questions from the board? Director Corbett.
Well, I first would like to just say thank you to Carol and Eric. Are you able to hear me, by the way? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, Director Corbett, we can hear you. Yes, she froze.
We could come
Okay.
back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Okay.
Eric, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to say first, thank you so much, Eric and Carol, for this presentation. And as we all know, Doug Seiden has just been an amazing representative for the Park District and put in so much time, a quarter of a century. And as you mentioned, obviously a social and environmental justice hero and advocate. And I don't want to say too much more of all of that history you just shared, but just to recognize the fact that he's worked so hard, but he's just such a humble person as well. And this amazing work he's done, he's always been very humble about it. I just want to say he certainly deserves a naming such as this, and it's so appropriate, it being the naming of the center there at Crab Cove, because that's a place where his work has been done to educate people about the importance of the environment and how we take care of the shoreline, and how we will continue to educate people about that important work. But I just feel so honored to have stepped into those very large shoes that he built as a Park District director. And I think this is a very appropriate thing to do to honor him and recognize his amazing work. We should just be so thankful to him, because in those 25 years, it's made a huge difference for the environment and all of the people in the community that he has represented. And his work obviously continues the future of this district. So thank you very much. I hope you are all able to support his amazing work.
Thank you. Any other directors? Director Wasby.
Yeah, well, I would just say that this is one of the easiest decisions we could ever make. This is the most deserving honor I can think of. I first met Doug when I was a member of the Alameda County Special District Association. And I came as a new member, and boy, he was the most welcoming, friendly, kind person, welcoming me into that group, introducing me to people, and he conducted meetings. It just he was an inspiration. When I first came to the Park District, I fortunately got to sit next to Doug on this board, and boy, it was the same thing. It was just such a privilege to watch him work, because he was very effective at what he did, but he didn't pound his fist anywhere. He didn't, his gentle, calm demeanor, yet focused on the right thing. It was just very inspirational. So I'm so proud that I could have served with Doug. He was a wonderful mentor. And just, this is the most well-deserved honor I can think of. And I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Director Lane.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I served on the board with Doug the entire time, and I actually probably am the person that knew him longest, because we both graduated from Santa Ana Public High School. He was a few years ahead of me, and his brother was in my class. And after I'd been on the board for a little bit, I realized I recognized the last name, and it was because of his brother at that point. But ended up in Santa Ana with some reunions a couple of times as well. So in a lot of ways, I think Doug, as a community leader, has been looked at as Mr. Alameda. And sort of to put this name on it as part of the visitor center, I think is entirely appropriate. I mean, he was all through his life was a consistent and in his pursuit of equality and the environment. And you could see as he organized things and as he ran meetings, that he really had this focus in mind. I remember in the early years that he was here when he was president. At one point, we used to have some fractious people that came to the board, and he was always unerringly polite and kept his eye on how things should be decided. And because of his sweet demeanor, he could be very successful with these folks, and he was. I also want to say that I appreciate his support for the San Francisco Bay Area Water Trail, which is dear to my heart, and the two of us always were on the same path there, especially I think as we were talking about making sure that Big Break had a water trail stop. I could rely on Doug to be in favor of that. So I do think I agree with Dennis and Ellen that that's entirely appropriate to do this naming, and I'm really happy that we are going to be able to honor Doug Seiden. Thank you.
Director Coffey. Thank you. I agree with Director Waspy. This is one of the easier things we have had before us in a long time. I never served with Doug, obviously, but in the 13 years I served on our PAC, prior to you folks elevating me to this board, I got to know Doug through his routine visits to the PAC meetings. And what really stands out to me when I think about Doug is how every time he came to a PAC meeting to report on board affairs and board issues, everyone would just sit there and listen intently. Doug had the ability to always be fascinating, to always make an interesting story out of the most dry topic. And I guess it's that background that Eric was talking about. This is a unique ability he had. And it always made for a very informative and enjoy a presentation that everyone would just enjoy every time he came to us. And I've always appreciated that about Doug and agree that this is an appropriate honor. Thanks.
Director Wieskamp.
You're on
You're
mute,
muted.
Director.
At least I remember to mute myself earlier. Doug was just a down-to-earth individual, and he cared about people, and he cared about kids, and he wanted them to have the very best experience. And all the time he was on East Bay Regional Park District, he was thinking about opportunities. Camp Arroyo, huge supporter of that. That wasn't in his part of East Bay, but it was very important to him. He knew that a lot of kids would have an opportunity right in their backyard to find out about the environment. He enjoyed seeing people do good things and be successful. He would never have asked for this honor. That's not his nature. But I can't think of anyone more deserving. I just hope he knows how much we appreciate him. Thanks.
Director Eccles.
Yeah, well, I would like to also express my wholehearted support for naming the visitor center after Doug Seiden. I think he is just an extraordinary person with a lifetime of really important public service. And I'm not going to repeat what the other board members said who know him far better than I do, but in particular, I believe that his commitment to youth education and environmental justice makes, and that he's such a welcoming and kind person that makes it just a really perfect for him to be honored by being named for the visitor center. I did want to mention one thing though about the resolution, and I know that Rick is going to talk about this, but I do have some concerns about putting a moratorium on naming parks and other things after people. Let me just say that I fully support a review of our naming policies, but I hate to have our hands tied in the meantime. I mean, for example, we would not have been able to name, we would not be able to do this today, to name the visitor center after Doug Seiden, or we would not have been able to name Concord Hills, Thurgood Marshall, home of the Port sorry, I'm not feeling very well, so I'm stumbling with my words, home of the Port Chicago 50. So that part of the resolution gives me pause, but I 200% support naming the visitor center for Doug Seiden.
Great, thank you. And then lastly, I met Doug as a union member on the committees for CC and WW, and extremely impressed and impacted by how he ran those committees. I kind of likened it, I called it a velvet hammer, but he basically ruled with kindness. And he was kind, he was thoughtful, always. And every time I hear a student speak from the Martin Luther King Freedom Center, it reminds me that this is part of Doug's legacy. And it always brings tears to my eyes, because that was Doug's vision, to include people in the most vulnerable communities, to be able to educate themselves and to be able to speak up. And every time I hear one of those young people speak, it really does enforce Doug's legacy and remind me of his role in that, and his efforts to he was part of the team. He was the preacher right next to the judge, and those two together were an incredible duo that preserved so much of our shorelines today that we recognize today. And I wholeheartedly in favor of doing this for Doug. He deserved it way longer, and I'm glad we can do it. We can do it now. And as to the moratorium, I think we're going to be discussing that policy quite soon. So I don't think it's going to be very long. And I see AGM Christina Kelchner nodding her head.
Director Rosario, Christina Kelchner, Assistant General Manager of Acquisition Stewardship and Development. Yes, our planning team has been looking into best practices for naming policies, and we do plan to bring an item to the Board Executive Committee in November. That will be an informational item, so that we won't have a policy ready for the board to consider at that point, but information about what our policy says and what some of the best practices are. Our policy was adopted in 2004. Some of our own internal practices, the names of our departments that are in those policies have changed. And so we do feel that it's time for a refresh, particularly given the public interest in naming sort of throughout the country these days. So we do want to look at the best practices.
Great, thank you. And so are there any other further comments or questions from the board? Director Corbett.
Yes, and thank you very much for those comments that you just made, Christina. I would like to sort of acknowledge some of the comments that have just been made with regard to this resolution, with regard to naming. I think it, of course, is appropriate to schedule to the board a discussion about naming, but I really believe that this resolution should be amended to take that whereas with regard to a moratorium out of this particular resolution, because it sort of steps on the fact that this is a resolution to recognize a naming for Doug. And I don't think it really belongs here. I do, of course, agree with folks that it's time for discussion. And thank you very much. Christina's comments, I think, is the appropriate way to go with that. So I would like to move this resolution, but I would like to take this whereas, amend this and take this whereas out of this resolution as we pass it today. But, remember that we will work on discussion of the naming with the board. So I hope others support that.
Is there, let's see,
Okay, I'll second that.
second on the motion. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion as amended?
So
And we'll
I
do roll call
move the
vote.
resolution, taking out the whereas that says there's, that we work on the moratorium, and we do that at another time. So whatever has to be done to fix that language. And thank you for your second on that, Director Lee.
Yeah, my second agrees with that.
Great. So without,
Sorry, just a point of order. First of all, I fully support that, Alan, but I also, Rick Rickard is here to talk about that. So I'm just wondering, I guess we can go ahead and move, but I just want to make sure that he also has his opportunity to talk about the moratorium, even though I support your motion to take that piece out of the resolution.
Absolutely. Very interested in hearing what he has to say.
We do have two speakers on this topic.
great. Before the vote, then we can hear the public comment. And I'd like to hear from Rick Rickard as well.
Mr. Rick Rickard and Rochelle Nason. Rick,
Okay, yes, I'm here. I'm
you
waiting
have
for
3 minutes.
waiting for my video to load.
There
Hi,
you go.
Rick Rickard, Chair of the Park Advisory Committee. Good afternoon, President Rosario, members of the board, and to Doug Seiden. I don't want to take a lot of your time because you've read the excerpt of the minutes from our meeting. You know what the discussion included, and there have been several references by Eric and others to the issues as they arose. I just want to make a couple of points to highlight the discussion that we had at our last PAC meeting in regard to this naming proposal. Among the members of our committee who spoke, those of us, including myself, who have known and worked with Doug, all agreed that he is undoubtedly and unreservedly deserving of this honor. If you talk with individual PAC members who have worked with him, you hear stories like those that Eric and Carol have told, and others of you have told. Lots of support for folks on other committees and boards and such. And so, yes, he's very deserving, and the PAC was unanimous in agreeing with that. But as has been mentioned, there were questions raised at the PAC about the district's policy for naming places and locations after individuals. I want to be clear that there were no reservations about Doug's qualifications for this honor. The question is simply related to how issues might come up in the future and relate to naming additional opportunities as we go forward. And so that was why the PAC members expressed a desire that the policy be reviewed and clarified. And we did ask for a moratorium on future naming opportunities until that is in place. I would be supportive of Director Corbett's proposal to remove that language from the current resolution, because I think you're right, it does detract from the honor that we're bestowing on Doug and should be taken up separately. We were very glad in the PAC meeting to hear that Christina and Brian Holt will be reviewing the policy to bring it back to the executive committee. And obviously the PAC would like to be involved in that process in the review as well. when it is appropriate for that to occur. There are a number of PAC members who are interested in the issue. One of those is Rochelle Nason, who is also here to speak on behalf of the PA of herself, but representing her ideas brought up at the PAC. So with that, I will stop and let Rochelle speak to you.
Yes, Rochelle, you have 3 minutes. Rochelle Nason?
Hey.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to second all that that Rick Rickard had to say. There was enthusiastic and unanimous support for moving ahead with this naming. And I also would agree with Director Corbett that this kind of resolution, actually the resolution itself can become a piece of family memorabilia and that kind of thing. And it shouldn't, the moratorium is a completely separate issue. With regard to a moratorium, I do think it's appropriate for it's been a long time since the policy was adopted, and there's a lot of different issues that have come up, and there's you know, this is a moment in our country when people are really talking about naming things and what it all means. And I think that the PAC would really love to be able to have a voice in that. And something that did occur to me, I'm just hoping that it will come back to the PAC and we'll be able to come forward with some ideas and suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Rick. That's all the speakers on this item.
Great, thank you. So great comments from both. And so we have a motion and on the floor with a second. And Madam Clerk, can you please take a roll call vote, please?
Ms. President Rosario, Director Coffey,
Aye.
Director Lane,
Aye.
Director Waspy,
Aye.
Director Corbett,
Aye.
Director Eccles,
Aye.
Director Wieskamp,
Aye.
and President Rosario.
Aye. Thank you very much. I think I'm so happy that we're able to get this done. And I just want to rest assured that we will be taking a very hard look at our naming policy and very soon, and the PAC will be included. So.
And I wonder if we could just give Doug a hand. I see he is on the.
Oh, yes.
On the.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, Marilyn, could you unstop your video? There you go. Hi, Director.
So nice to see you.
There he is. Yeah, he's muted. I can't unmute him. Marilyn, can you unmute him? I know she's there.
I'm here.
There you go. Director Seiden, would you like to say anything?
You want to say anything?
Oh, this is a high honor. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
So lovely to see you, Doug.
Thank you for your many years of service.
We appreciate you very much.
Thanks, Marilyn.
You're welcome.
Yeah. See you later, Director.
Take care, Doug.
Thank you for pointing out that he was here. Now that brings us to item C, General Manager comments.
All right, I think we have a presentation now from our AGM of Public Affairs, Carol Johnson, on our new website. Very exciting.
Well, thank you again. This is once again Carol Johnson from Public Affairs. And today I have something really exciting to share with you, and it is a sneak preview of something very exciting that will be coming our way very, very soon. It is the brand new, updated and refreshed edition of our website. I know many of us have been talking about it in the last several meetings or even further back. So I'm going to share my screen, and then myself and my colleague Mona Ko is going to be responsible for taking the talking about this. Actually, could I ask that it be brought up on this screen, please? Is it possible? I just don't want my battery just showed up crazy, but we'll do our best. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. Trying to. Sorry. I'm sorry for the delay. Or maybe it's on my end. I need to do that. Okay. Okay, my very serious apologies. Okay, let's get started before my battery dies. Okay, so today's website upgrade discussion is based on that we have to transition to a new content provider because the current one will be concluding at the end of this year. We will have no website if we didn't do this. The new website is going to have new information architecture and a user-friendly, inclusive navigation, accessible navigation, integrated content with advanced search function, and interactive maps, which the public will really love because that is the #1 thing people come to our website for, and engaging audiovisual. I wanted to give you a little bit of analytics about what our current website produces in terms of users. So we have about 1.8 annual users, over 10 million, 1.8 million, I meant to say, over 10 million page views annually. And you can see how people are actually getting their information from our website, predominantly through their mobile devices. But we do have a good number, approximately a third, coming from desktop. And then, of course, tablets, a very small number. More females than male are engaging with our website, and ages, very interesting. You can see where the age breakdown is. And I actually will be asking our program staff after this presentation to see how their programs break down and if it's similar to our website. The current top pages, and I'm so sorry that this is here. Current top pages, as you can see, Del Val, Tilden, Redwood, Ardenwood, Sunol, Angler's Edge. We've got a lot of fishermen in the district because we've got a lot of Great Lakes that get stocked regularly. Swim facilities are very important too, obviously, especially when it's warm outside. Lake Chabot, COVID was very much as on this list for the last 2 years, and Mission Peak. This rounds out the top 10. Again, most of these top 10 locations and destinations on the website are visited because people are interested in maps. So now I'm going to ask Mona Ko to come up and give you a little more information about the research and assessment that went into developing our website. And I'm so sorry. Could we start this presentation? My website just died. But perhaps Mona, while we're trying to get the screen back up, Mona, you can come and give a little bit of an overview about the process that we went through. That would be great. And then we'll get it, we'll continue the visual. I am very sorry. It said it was ready for 5 hours worth of use. Here, we'll switch. I'm so sorry. This would unfortunately have to happen to me.
It's all right. It's like,
Continue, I will load here.
Okay, meanwhile, I will give you some information. We did a survey, actually two surveys, one for the public and one for internal staff. And yes, okay. So our public survey, we had 92 people responded, and they responded with qualitative comments. That's what we wanted, not so much numbers, but really detailed information. And then the internal survey, we had 105 people, employees that commented also very qualitatively and descriptively. And then based on that, then we had focus groups for our internal staff. We had about 45 staff participated. We must have had held about 8 to 10 focus groups for each department. And basically from the survey, as Carol mentioned, the feedback is the website is fantastic. There's a lot of information. However, not easy to navigate to the information, and sometimes it could be overwhelming. So the comments back are, can we make the website more visually compelling and also more interactive, and also some more new technology. So the new website you will find is much more appealing graphically, and also has some interactivity and videos and accordions drop down, like when you go to Wikipedia, you have accordions you can open and close. So we'll be using a lot of functionalities like that. And also another thing is to do this, to create this website, we did quite a bit of substantial research. We went to MidPenn website. We also went to San Francisco Recreation and Parks website, and also Oregon Metro and ABAG, Association of Bay Area Governments. So we looked through a whole spectrum of website to see how they engage the public, how they create interactivity, how they create their forms, how they create their architecture. And so from that, we gleaned a lot of useful information. And so that's went into the creation of this new website. And just now, Carol mentioned to you, we have 1.82 million users per year. It's like a lot of numbers, right? But when it breaks down to per month, it's pretty impressive. It's about 151,000 users per month. 151,000, very impressive. And also in terms of page views, we have 10.6 million page views, people actually coming in and browse through our pages and looking for the information, digging deeper. And that comes out to be about 883,000 per month. So almost 900,000 per month of page views. So you can see our website is well used, well visited. People are getting a lot of information from it. So that's why it's really, I'm very happy that our agency, our management, our board director is investing in the new website. And you will see some of the, when we come to the part landing pages, which is really very important. So shall I start here? Okay. So we have the PowerPoint now back on. So, okay, so this was the, okay, so I mentioned the highlights on research and assessment, and also the current and new website. We'll be looking at 3 pages to show you this example, and then we'll show you the information structure, how we do the architecture for the new website. And you can see there are actually 5 key menu items for you to go through. Yeah, thank you. So, okay, thank you very much. So now you can see that we have this PowerPoint here. The current website, you can see, you recognize it, right? And then the new website, you can see it's
There we go. There we go. It's not showing it. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna move it. There we go. There we go. Okay. Not you.
Thank you very much. So we will come back here. Okay, so welcome to the new website. And you can see we have, now understand that this is work in progress. So for example, Alameda and Contra Costa counties will put a lowercase c on it. So anyway, you can see up there on top is our fire warning. We will show very clearly if there are incidences where we need to declare emergency in certain parts because of fire or flood, then that comes up on all pages throughout the website. And then you can see the select language per the survey. People want to be able to change to different languages. So now the good thing is when you see welcome and all the information down there, 73 parks and all that, all this will be in Spanish if I chose Spanish. If I chose Arabic, all of it will be in Arabic, including every item up there, visit a park, things to do. And so this will be a very accessible and very comprehensive website for our multicultural communities.
How many languages do you have there?
Well, we have about, I believe, about 15 languages. So it's not to be overwhelming. Yeah, if you go to Oakland website, it's 5 main languages that they have. So we actually added a few more. And then this one here, you can see the current website. You have the calendar on your left-hand side. It just has a listing, which is helpful. It's a little small calendar. However, the new one will be showing you more information, the name of the event, what park is that, and also do you need to register for the event, or is it a drop-in, or is it a special event like the 30th anniversary of the firestorm? So we use icons to indicate what kind of program or event that is. And here we have more opportunities to showcase in a graphical way. So we can showcase our natural resources, our foundation, also our wildfire preparedness, and also education for the public, how they can protect themselves at home and also at the parks. And also we have resources. We can highlight our annual report, jobs, and all these categories are actually from our survey. We ask people what are the categories, number them in terms of priority that you would like, that is important to you. What are the topics that are important to you? Now, the nice thing about all this is we can swap them out easily as we monitor the website. We can see how many click-throughs. If one icon is a lot more click-through, then we can keep that, and one less, we can swap it out with something else. And then here is the footer. It will also, you can see it has at the one at the bottom is the current website. It has only one line at the bottom for click-through. In the new website, you have 3 categories about us, connect with us, and resources, more areas for people to go deeper into our website. In the park landing page, you can see this is an example of the park landing page. The current website has a lot of information. However, it can be overwhelming. If you look at the navigation on the left-hand side, you have a lot of images. It can sometimes overwhelm the page itself. So really, we're looking at more, less is more, truly, less is more. So it's more compelling, more engaging, more clear what you want people to focus on. And so this is an example where we are using icons to tell people what kind of activities there are happening in the park. And also the different color bars on top. I'll show you a close up. First of all, we show all the hours, all the necessary information, the address and all that, and the fee structure. And then we have the bars across to indicate the level of intensity of warning. So if there is blue-green algae, dire warning, severe warning will be in red. The lighter colors will be like, for example, a trail is closed for repair work. It's not causing any huge public safety, like a wildfire, then we use lighter colors. So we are using colors to indicate to people how to engage what's happening in the park. And also these colors are all fine-tuned for people with visual challenges too. So the consultant we're working with is also very knowledgeable about accessible colors to use and fonts and size and all that. So this is an example of the old one where it's a lot of copy. So the new one, we're doing more videos, more photographs, collapsible applications where you can use. And then here is the nice thing about this new website is that we're going to have PDFs that are geo-tagged. So that means that you can download our map as it is right now, as you see it, beyond a PDF. And before you would do it as a PDF, and now you can do it as a geotagged PDF. And what does that mean? You download it to your cell phone, and because it's geotagged, it will know your GPS coordinates as you walk in the park. So wherever you are, it will show you a red dot. And so as you walk along the path, it will show you. If you walk off, it will also show you. And the nice thing is you don't need accessibility to internet or connection, because it's downloaded onto your mobile. And you use it through the Avenza software. So mobile app, and the new website will show people how to do all that. And then in terms of park projects, so from the survey, we know that people are very interested in what's happening in the parks. Like I see a lot of bulldozers, what's happening. So here it's like, okay, you can see in Black Diamond Mines, for example, it'll tell you what's happening. However, it's a lot of text, a lot of copy. So the new one, based on feedback, we're doing videos, we're doing photographs, and we're also showing them a timeline and site description and so forth, and also event announcements. Here's a close-up. Yeah, and the reason we are putting the navigation on the right-hand side as opposed to the left is because research shows that 89% of the population is right-handed. So it's much easier to navigate on the right-hand side. So now information architecture or information structure. So I'll go through this. The current website shows you our infrastructure. And it's pretty flat. The new website, you have 6 sections under visitor park. Is all the section is the parks right away. What are the maps that you and the individual park information, also visitor centers, and then we have trails, everything you need to know about trails, and also new visitors. We added this so that if you're new to the parks, what precaution do you need to know? What information do you need to know? And also then AD accessibility and safety and alerts and closures. And under things to do, we have about 5 categories sections here. And again, they are done very logically to make clear people can see things easily. So they have a count of events, the very first thing, and then all the activities that we conduct in our parks and the programs to highlight all the naturalist programs and also healthy parks, healthy people. And then we have rentals and permits where they need to get all the permitting and all that is easy to see, and also get involved. They can volunteer, they can become a member. And then very quickly here, we have this park. What do we do? What our work? That's a good one. Our current website actually does not break it out like that. It's all under About Us. So this new architecture will show you very clearly what we as a park district do. These are our park projects, what's happening in the parks, in construction and restoration, and then our natural resources. These are all the things we take care of. And then the measures, actually is under, we are calling it legislative, and it will be policy actions that we are taking, and also all the different measures that we have. So right now, the measures will be replaced by legislative, and then also public safety. Now, this is important to know because sometimes people are surprised that we have our own fire department or our own police department. But this will show very clearly, yes, we do. We have our own police, fire, and lifeguard. So this architecture is very clear, telling people what all our different departments is and what we do. And then this one here, under About Us, is you can see in the current website is pretty flat. So here you have 7 categories. What's new? So these are all the news items, the press releases, our social media, our activity guide, and then our publications and different media that we have available on our website. And then we have public information, all our board meetings, information and budget and so forth. And then we have our leadership. And then we have our history, and Brenda will be adding to it quite more in a very useful way and comprehensive way, because we have a ton of interesting history. And then we have jobs. And then the last one is about contact us, different ways to contact us. And then this one here is a new section called Get Help. And this is actually from internal staff. When we did our focus group, we have several different departments say, we need people to be able to get information quickly. Can you do something to get it quickly to get information? For example, from the police department, they say people want to make a report. It's hard to navigate through our current website. So, and also people want to get a permit or make a reservation. So this one came from our internal focus group. And again, we put it on the right-hand side because that's the easiest to get to. So one more look at our homepage. So thank you for this opportunity to present. So we are happy, Carol and I, to answer any questions that you may have.
Excellent. Questions from the board? Let me change my view here so I can see my virtual folks. There we go. Uh-oh. Go ahead, Bev.
Tell me a little bit about the new visitors. Was that section in part put in there because we've had such an overwhelming number of people beginning in 2020? Or how did you think about new visitors?
That's a good question. Yes, that is part of the reason to help people be aware, like when you come out to the parks, these are certain things you need to consider. And also we looked at other websites. MidPenn has a very clear for new visitors, what are the things they need to do. And also we saw in other websites too, that they have information for new visitors. So information like best not to go to the park by yourself, best to let people know that you are coming to the park. Also bring enough water for yourself and for your dog. And also the temperature changes, so make sure you have many layers. And also how to navigate around cattle and also bikes, trail courtesy, etiquette, and so forth. So yes, it's a very, very important and helpful section.
Any other questions? Director Coffey.
Two things come to mind when we're looking at a new website in my mind. One is I've found that the search function on our existing website doesn't work very well. I think I've said this before. If you put in a document that you want to find, not too long ago, I remember trying to find the Los Trampas land use plan, LUP amendment that's been worked on quite a bit the last few years. And you put those keywords in our search function and it may or may not show up in that example. In fact, I've often just learned that it's better to look up a specific document from EBRPD using just ordinary Google rather than searching on our website. So it really is some kind of archaic technology involved in that search function. So I'm hoping that's improved so that people can get to documents, very specific documents in the future.
Yes, thanks. Thank you for asking that question. The good thing about this consultant is that they are very aware of this, and we said this is one of our highest priority is the search. And so when you type in the word right now with the new website, you will be able to see documents as one category, PDFs as one, and website as another one. So
Okay,
a lot of times we may not want the PDF, we may want the web page itself. And sometimes we do want the PDFs, and sometimes we want a video. So the new search function will be able to categorize for you your searches, the results.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I can see right away where that would be helpful.
Yes, and then the next thing that's really cool about the new design is, let's say you want to know about cows grazing. So you type in bovine, for example, right? Do we have bovine in there? Not necessarily, probably. We have cow, we have grazing. However, what we're going to do is we're going to have a lookup table for some of these words. So when we type in bovine, we will know. And when this word is connected to cow, is connected to grazing, is connected to safety around cows, is connected to why cows are on our land. So the nice thing is when you type in bovine, then you will see all this information that's connected across different departments. So grazing as a way to mitigate wildfire, grazing as and how to navigate yourself safely around cows. So that's the new website design. So that's really helpful because we're finding that when people type in something, they are looking for really interconnectedness between different policies we have, different processes we have, different safety measures we have.
And one other issue that came to mind is, and I'm sure your consultants are on top of it, and it might be just because I'm so bad at it, that it's a particular issue for me, and that is on social media, wanting to repost or share what we publish on our website. And I've found that sometimes it's very easy if you just click on the Facebook symbol and exactly what you're reading is put in the newsfeed on Facebook. Sometimes I can't do it. There'll be, maybe it's a PDF news release and it doesn't readily convert to Facebook because it's a PDF, not a JPG. If there's some means by which a consultant could put themselves in the position of our many social media users, all of whom really enjoy either reposting our stuff or sharing the Park District's publications, to make it as easy as possible for people to do that. It will mean that we'll get so many more views of the work that we're publishing out on through our website.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more on this issue because we are realizing from analytics that people are coming from everywhere, from organic search in Google, coming to our website through Facebook and through e-newsletter. They click through the e-newsletter. So the consultant is very aware that we have all these different channels, all these mediums, and how to make it easier for us, for people to come in easily, and also for us to post and repost some of this information. And so we are constantly going to be looking at our analytics and see how people are coming to our website, where they're coming from, and how are they coming from, what platform, what devices, when are they coming, what time of the day, and what are they looking through as they drill down the website. So this will be all helpful information for us to how to leverage that information for to make it easier on the website to find that. And even if they type in keywords, we can also capture that from analytics and we'll know. Like if a lot of people are typing bovine for some reason, we'll make sure we have a lot of pages that talk about bovine,
And
so
make
things
sure
like
all
that.
those pages
Yeah.
can be easily republished.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Is just
Yes.
put yourself in the position of someone who wants to post or
Exactly.
share
Yes.
what we're reading from our website.
Yes, that's
And make it as easy as
definitely, yeah.
possible for people like me who are not good at it to
Mhm,
do
yeah.
that.
We will definitely make the process very easy for people. Yes, thank you. Mhm.
Director Eccles.
Yeah, thank you, Dee. Well, first of all, Carol and Mona, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm very excited about the work you are doing on our website with the consultant, and in particular, in making it much easier for the users to find important information. And I like that panel where you had certain things that they could get to quickly. I think that's very important. Also want to really second what Colin was saying about reposting, because I've even tried to repost some of our Facebook posts or our news posts, about events or so on, and it's not that easy. So if whatever you need to do to make it just so that you can grab it and repost it, I think that's important. And the other thing I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned that when people come to our website and they can choose what they're searching for in terms of whether it's a document or a video or a web page. But if they don't know the format that they're looking for, I assume they can still just have it like a general search and not ask for a specific,
Oh, yes.
document or page.
Correct. For example, if they type in wildfire, then they'll get documents, web pages that have wildfire on that. It will come out and there'll be a category says web pages, another category says, and then any related PDFs, they will also have the PDF. And you can also filter it by later state to earlier state. So they'll be filtering also, and they'll be categorizing whatever you type in. It will be very clear whether it's a web page, so the result will be there, and then the PDFs. You just type in the word wildfire, and it will then show you the results in a way that's easy to see, easier to connect with.
That's great. Thank you. This sounds really good. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Great. Anyone else? Seeing none. Colin asked all the questions I had. Had the same difficulties, but I'm glad to see that this is. It looks so much better. It's less cluttered and easier to find things. So I think you guys are doing a great job. Thank our consultant and all the people that on the different panels, because obviously it shows that everybody's listening. Thank you so much. I can't wait for the when is it going to go on?
The plan is to launch the second week of December, and if we don't need it, then at least by right after Christmas, 26 or 27, because truly our current website was sunset on December 31st.
Great Christmas present.
Yes, very much so. Yes.
Excellent. Seeing no other questions, we can go on to the next.
Thank you.
Director Wieskamp, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Okay, we'll try and take a break for you at 3 o'clock. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
Okay. We're almost done. Yeah, she needs to take a break at 3. Reports, item number 4.
Thank you, President Rosario and members of the board. Just one quick update today. On October 4th of this year, the City of Hercules, their Planning Commission approved the initial study, lot line adjustment, vesting tentative parcel map, and design review permit for the Franklin Canyon RV Resort project. Just to remind everyone, this project will use the existing golf cart paths as trails and will access the existing JMLT Fernandez Ranch Trails, which is adjacent to Rancho Pinoli, identified in the Park District's 2013 master plan as a potential regional park. So good news there that the project is moving along, and that's the end of my update.
It sounds so similar to our Deer Valley. It's almost like the same.
Or Dumbarton.
Further proof of the
actually.
decline of Western civilization, in my opinion.
A very well planned and I don't want to say upscale. We're not exactly advertising as upscale. These people are. In other words, a large RV and general camping center with many amenities associated with a large regional park. In this case, in Hercules, it's going to be future Rancho Pinoli or the current very large park at Fernandez Ranch in Franklin Canyon. So it strikes me as a reasonable use of an old golf course and a lot of open space going to the John Muir Trust.
Excellent. And now we are at our favorite time of the month. So board and staff reports. And good. We might get out of here before 3 o'clock, Ann. So we'll go with the board reports. We'll take Director Wieskamp.
President Rosario,
Oops.
announcements from closed session.
Oh, I'm sorry. Announcement for closed session.
President Rosario, Carol Victor, District Council. There's one announcement from the closed session. By a vote of 7-0, the board unanimously authorized initiating litigation in Alameda County for one case. And the name of that matter will become public as soon as a complaint is on file. While I have the floor, I also wanted to clarify, because some questions have come up, that the board acted on item H on the consent calendar when you voted on a consent calendar. Someone had asked a question because Director Coffey had said he wanted to pull it for separate discussion. You had that discussion and you acted on the entire consent calendar, and I just wanted to confirm that.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay, we'll do board comments. We'll start with Director Wieskamp, then Director Corbett, and then Director Eccles.
Thank you. It's a short list. On the 12th, I had a discussion with a consultant about what I thought would be reasonable duties of the legal counsel that we are going to be choosing. We had a Fremont liaison meeting on the 14th. And the important item there was, of course, that staffs have reached an agreement on the lease and for the next 25 years. And that was very important. Nothing controversial this time. The 15th legislative meeting. And on the 17th, I just had a conversation with Chris Lyle, who is supervisor. And the main first item we talked about was the shop. You know, it takes a long time to come back when your shop burns down. And he told me about all the staff, but he's lost one person because they were retired. That's happening all over the district, are busy putting things together for the future shop that's going to be built. And he also was very proud that the trees they had planted, the cistern was providing the water that was keeping them alive, and they were doing well. And so that has been a great asset for them. And we had a brief discussion about Brushy Peak and something I would like to see happen there. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Corbett.
Yes, President Rosario, I'd just like to submit my list of meetings to the clerk and not really report it right now, if that's okay.
Totally fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Eccles.
Hi, sure. So on October 8th, I attended the Contra Costa County Labor Council's Labor to Labor dinner, along with President Rosario and Director Coffey. On the 15th, I attended the Contra Costa Liaison Committee meeting. Also on the 15th, I attended the East Bay Regional Park. That I've not attended, but met with our consultant for the general counsel search. And then I also just wanted to remind folks that tomorrow night, we're having a public workshop on Jewel Lake from 6 to 7:30. So if the public's out there and wants to come, we welcome you. And information about that is on our website. And I also wanted to say, I'm so sorry to not be there today in person. I was really looking forward to it. But as I mentioned, I've been under the weather and my daughter has too. And unfortunately, I was not able to come to the PAC tour of Point Malate or the 30th anniversary of the Oakland Firestorm event. I was looking forward to both of those events. So, you know, what can you do? Yeah, anyway, I think that's it for me for now. Thank you.
Great. Get better.
Thanks.
Director Coffey, then Director Lane, and then Director Waspy.
Thank you, President Rosario. On the 7th, I attended the Contra Costa County Mayor's Conference. I'm really looking forward to them getting back together in person. It was really a wonderful opportunity for those of us to go to it, to network with all the city council members in the county. So maybe next month. As Director Eccles mentioned, I attended the Contra Costa Central Labor Council annual dinner at St. Mary's College. On the 9th, Mila and I took a hike with Black Diamond Mine naturalist Virginia Delgado around the Bay Point Park and the newly recreated Harrier Loop Trail around the marsh at Bay Point. On the 10th, we attended a hike led by the Greenbelt Alliance along our Carquinez Strait Regional Shoreline Park. On the 11th, I also met with the General Counsel recruiter. On the 12th, I attended the Contra Costa Enviro Labor periodic meetings that take place between Contra Costa building trades and the environmental communities. On the 12th, I attended at the invitation of my hometown, a ribbon cutting for the Hercules Sustainability Energy Project. On the 13th, I attended the Contra Costa RCD, Resource Conservation District's forum on coastal cleanup efforts. And I was able to represent the Park District and give them all the statistics on our own efforts of pounds of garbage and recyclables collected that day and the number of volunteers that we had. Also on the 13th, I attended the Martinez 1000 Friends group and their monthly meeting at which they were honoring as Martinez Citizens of the Year, one Tina Batt and one Bob Doyle, who they decided were honorary members of the city of Martinez. And they asked both Bob and Tina to talk about their careers, and I found it very compelling to listen to them and to be there on behalf of the Park District. On the 14th, I attended the Contra Costa County Liaison Committee, and that's where a number of us meet with Supervisor Burgess and Supervisor Glover to discuss common issues. I attended by YouTube the Legislative Committee on October 15th. And on the 16th, Mila and I spent the day with ambassador duties at the Mount Diablo State Park Centennial Celebration out at Cal State East Bay Concord campus. That was a delightful day to be out there and with all the community and the community supporting Mount Diablo State Park. That evening, I attended yet another event that Congressman DeSaulnier was holding to explain what was going on in DC. And it was both difficult for him to explain and interesting to listen to at the same time. And of course, this past Sunday, we did the tabling along with many of you of my colleagues at the Oakland Hills Firestorm commemoration. And President Rosario, once again, your brief talk there was incredibly moving and of great interest to us. And yesterday I attended President Rosario's planning meeting for today's regular board meeting. And that covers it for me.
It almost sounds like you're retired.
It does help.
Yeah.
But as I tell people, it's not just that I'm not practicing law anymore. It's just I got a new job.
Yeah. Great. Director Lane.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, somehow a lot of things happen in the weeks between board meetings. I did attend the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference meeting. I had a one-on-one lunch with our general manager and a one-on-one Zoom conversation with our recruiter for our future General Counsel and went to part of the Labor Environmental meeting on Zoom, which is always interesting because there's lots of different perspectives and people are talking to one another, which is good. Then I attended the Contra Costa County Park District Liaison meeting and enjoyed the Walnut Creek Watershed presentation that they had, giving an update on the improvements that they are pursuing, including a revision of part of the levee, which will eventually become Iron Horse Trail. And I'm looking forward to the breaching of the levee at Pacheco Marsh that will be coming up. So that's in the future. Then I attended the East Bay Leadership Council board meeting on Friday morning, and that too is very interesting because that is, you know, they focus on business and jobs for the county, and then sometimes beyond the county, they'll go into the Tri-Valley or toward Berkeley, Oakland. And they did announce that they're having a special reception for Walnut Creek Council member Cindy Silva, who is the new president for the League of California Cities. So that's a position that I don't believe anyone in the East Bay has ever held, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a real significant bee in the city's bonnet in our county. And Cindy is a very conscientious and bright representative for the cities. I did hear that also that Walnut Creek, on which council she serves, was one of the few larger cities that did not appeal their housing numbers. And almost every suburban city I know did appeal that. So Walnut Creek is moving in a direction somewhat different than other outlying suburban cities. And then I did have a great time at the event at Temescal on Sunday, in which they were commemorating the tunnel fire of 30 years earlier. I thought there were lots of good information there, and many of our young firefighters had a chance to talk with our retired firefighters and especially talk about that fire. And where it was held, I thought was very good decision. I don't know who decided that. The Public Affairs decide where anyway, it was on the larger public parking that we have at Temescal, and you could, if you look to the east, you saw the area that burned 30 years ago and what it looks like now, and felt anxious all over again. What can I say? And then I just wanted to, oh yes, and then yesterday I had a chance with Eric Feeler and Bob Doyle to go to the Tesla celebration. I'm going to events again. I can't tell you what a joy that is, because you have a chance to have informal conversations and not always the formal ones in these Zoom meetings. Anyway, it was a very happy event, you know, celebrating the fact that the Tesla property is going to be a different kind of a state park, and one in which people can interpret the natural and cultural resources and understand the importance of that as a wildland corridor from one part of the East Bay moving toward the Central Valley. And the Park District was mentioned a number of times there, including somebody remembered a position we had taken in the 1950s which I had never heard of before, but it did have to do with the natural resources of that property and the significance of it. So it's not an ordinary property. And then I wanted to comment just briefly on a letter that came to us urging us to include Point Mulati area as a regional park in our master plan. And because I had just gone to Tesla, I thought, well, I'll take a look at the master plan, and the master plan has 16 potential regional parks on the map, not all of which do end up being regional parks. But that does not mean they aren't saved. And so one of them that was a potential was Tesla. Another is Point Mulati. And a third I would mention is the Concord property, which is now Thurgood Marshall. So looking at those master plan maps can be a very enlightening experience. And with that, I want to say how wonderful it is to be back in the boardroom and how happy I was to be able to rediscover how to drive here, to park here, and to use the elevator. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Waspy.
Thank you. I also met with the consultant to deal with the issues of hiring our new chief counsel. On October 14th, I attended the HASPA meeting, Havertide Area Shoreline Planning Agency meeting. We're still grappling with trying to get new members. The Alameda County Mosquito Abatement District joined us, and we're still lobbying other agencies and concerned parties to come join us in that endeavor to protect the Hayward shoreline. On October 14th, I also attended the Fremont Liaison Committee meeting. Great news there. We signed we're going to sign a 25-year lease. Hopefully we've agreed on a 25-year lease over Mission Peak, the 900 acres of Mission Peak that's owned by Fremont. I think it was a really good deal for the Park District, and I think we'll enjoy that great park for quite a bit of time. On October 15th, I attended the Legislative Committee meeting. And on the 16th, I went to the Park Advisory Committee meeting to tour Point Mulati, and great job by Eric hosting that, and great presentations by Mike Reeves and Sean Dugan, showing people that don't know about Point Mulati all the great features of what's going on there, and people were really pretty amazed by that. And it was a great presentation and a great resource to be able to visit. On the 17th, I attended the Oakland Firestorm commemoration. Again, Director Rosario, thanks for your poignant words. And it was a great time. It was funny when you talked about the young firefighters talking to the old firefighters. It was really fun to watch. And we took a group photo, and God, we're not that old, are we? I'm glad the fire didn't happen last week with us there. But anyway, it was a great celebration or commemoration, and it was really nice. I'm also very happy to be here today. I'm very happy to see everyone. I got to walk around upstairs and downstairs and see everyone, and I want to thank the staff for getting this ready. I know this is not an easy effort to get us doing all the stuff we're doing to make this work, but I sure appreciate it. I would like to note a couple of people, because we've had this period of not being around here, and some people have snuck out the door, so to speak, and I think they should be noted. And if you, on page 74, under our general manager's comments, I hope you've noted the retirements. Lots and lots of years. These 6 people I'm going to name had 139 years of service here. Brian Cordero, fire captain, 36 years here, and Brian's retired now. Don Fuller, who's a gardener at the Botanic Garden, 13 years. Bill Probitz, who was police sergeant and helicopter pilot for many, many years, did some incredible stuff, including crash landing the helicopter safely, avoiding houses and power lines. He served for 24 years. Shushan Robb, who's a park ranger, had mostly at Point Panola for 23 years. And Gretchen Rose, one of the first women in our police department and one of the most successful people in our police department, served 25 years and is retired. And also Ryland McFadden, who's a legacy around here. And Ryland served for 18 years as a police sergeant. And so they're gone, but, and I wish we could have a celebration for them. Dee and I talked about, we should just hold a big party for everybody that's retired in the last 19 months down at Temescal, and I don't know, maybe. But that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, see, plant a seed. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you to all those retirees for their service. So I have had a busy month too. On 10th, 7th, I attended the Lake Merritt Breakfast Club, which I am now a member. I'll be attending those every week. On the 14th, also met there, and I got to meet the new Oakland Fire Chief. And I think City of Oakland's found themselves a little gem. He's incredibly intelligent and articulate, and he has vision. And I'm looking forward to our department working with him too. So I'm very encouraged by what I've seen so far. And then on the 7th, I did a media interview, and I can't remember who it was, but it was an interview regarding the possibilities of a JPA regarding wildland mitigation. And I don't remember what I said. And then I too, on the 7th, attended the Contra Costa Mayor's conference. And I got to hear some conversation around homeless. A lot of our cities are hitting a wall around, they've been able to help the people that they've been able to help. But there's this core number of homeless people that like their lifestyle. And so that's going to be, I think all the cities are hitting that, they're seeing that. And then also Bay Area Air Quality Management District is offering up to $9,500 to get you to switch to an electric vehicle. And then the East Bay, is that East Bay DA? Nope. Economic Development. There you go. Too many of these acronyms. They've just posted their East Bay Forward blueprint for the upcoming year. So look forward to looking at that. And then I too, on the 8th, attended the Contra Costa Labor Council annual dinner. That was fabulous. Actually, it was outside on the lawn in the front of the college there, and I thought it was quite well done. Yeah, good food outside on the lawn. And then on the 9th, I attended the East Oakland Collective bicycle tour of Arrowhead Marsh. And I didn't meet them at the start, but I rode from home, so it was about 12 miles. And then I paid the price later because my back went out 2 days later. But it was fabulous. Kita from the East Oakland Collective, she is such a bundle of energy, and she introduced the whole about 25 young people from the community about how to get to Martin Luther King Shoreline. And then we picked up litter for about an hour and a half, and then we had a fabulous lunch. And then there was people there from the Oakland redistricting. There was Friends of San Leandro Creek, and all the people there were really interested in the extension of San Leandro Creek eastward. And they were all talking about how the railroad was being difficult. So, and we have a request, because Robin Freeman was there, that we meet once more for the, we had one of Doug Seiden's legacy meetings regarding San Leandro Creek Alliance to start meeting again. So I told him I would bring that up, and then we could probably develop a schedule. Just to give us up to date, bring us up to date on what's happening. And then on the 11th, I met with Supervisor Bridget Calvi, and she needed to know some history about the trailhead at Trail Center. And yeah, she got an earful. And so she's really got an eye towards redeveloping or making that trail junction nicer and more friendly, user friendly. And then we also walked down the Golden Spike Trail to look at some of the trail projects that are doing there. It's fabulous. She's able to do things that I've always wanted to do, but I didn't have the machinery and I didn't have the permission. But that's great. And then on 10/12, I did an interview with the Peninsula Press with Elena Linya Schauf, and I met her at the Martin Luther King event, and she was interested in also in the San Leandro Creek expansion eastward. And then on the 13th, I met with Heather Rentschler for the district council recruitment. I think we're in good hands there. Sounds like we're getting a lot of interest. And then on the 15th, the legislative committee was always interesting. And the amount of activity that's going on in the state was just fabulous. How much activity is going on and has been going on, and how many bills has been signed. And congratulations to the legislative department for keeping us abreast and keeping us forward. And Doug's always been a fabulous advocate for us. And then Peter's views are always interesting, especially coming out of DC. So hopefully we'll keep going there. And then 10/16, I did a climate change presentation for the AFSCME Council 57 retirees. And when I agreed to do that, I said, oh yeah, piece of cake, until I really started digging into the recent IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change from the UN, that report. And my wife, I did a run through, and she says, you're going to scare people. You got to tone it down. So, I mean, and I did, and I'm glad I did, but I did scare myself, but it is a scary report. And I really think we are going to go sail past the 1.5 degrees centigrade in the next few years. We have very little time, and I hope we can, as an agency, be part of the movement to contribute in a good way. And that goes to electrification, reducing our carbon footprint as much as possible, and recognize the drought for what it is, and act accordingly. So yeah, I scared myself too. And then the North Hills Community Association event for the 30th commemoration of the North Oakland Hills Fire was fabulous. And it also commemorated the 32nd anniversary for the Loma Prieta earthquake. So it was a disaster day, but I think there was a great balance of levity and also somber, and especially I loved how we ended it with the reading of the names, and hopefully we have lessons have been learned, and we won't make those same mistakes again. And we have a part to play in that as well. So, and then had my pre-board meeting with Sabrina, and we are here today. And then I'm looking forward to have another interview with KPFA regarding the Oakland Hills Fire. Then I'm attending the 30th annual Tree of Hope lighting at 4949 Grizzly Peak. It's in commemoration of also the Oakland Hills Fire. And then we have a liaison committee meeting with Alameda coming up on Friday. Is that right? I think so. Good. And then I just wanted to bring up to date, we have a we are being awarded the Global Citizen Award from the UN. And we are accepting that award on Sunday, the 24th at 4 o'clock. I invite you all to come. General Manager Sabrina and I are going to be accepting the award. And just wanted to thank Mona Ko for filling out a 14-page application. And she must have done very well because we are the recipients of the Citizen Award. So I invite you to join us there. And then also, see, is there any other comments? Anybody else forget anything before I have my final acknowledgements? Before we go, I want to acknowledge the passing of General Colin Powell. I think the United States lost a great citizen. Yes, he made mistakes, but I think we all do. But he recognized some of those mistakes and tried to make amends. But he served his country as best he could, and he'll be missed. And finally, I wanted to, with deep condolences, I would like to recognize the passing of our very own Ann Wieskamp's son, passed away recently. And I just wanted to offer publicly my deepest condolences and the condolences of the board. And I'd like to give the board members an opportunity to speak as well. But I also want to advocate for, she wants to plant a grove of trees in his honor. And I thought we could pass the hat and ask for donations and contribute to a fund to plant those trees. And I think she's working with Chris Lyle at Brushy Peak. So again, I cannot imagine the pain and the suffering when a parent loses a child, and especially when that child is your only one. And my deepest condolences to Anne, and I've said this privately to her, that anything she needs, don't be afraid to ask. I will do whatever I can. And so I would like to hear from the rest of the board too before we close. Director Lane.
Say a few words.
Yes, please.
So for Ann and Ted Wieskamp, you know, they had the one son, Todd, and he was a great support for Ann, especially after Ted passed away. So I know they've been very close, and she is beginning to process what this loss is going to mean to her. And so I think the idea that if people wanted to put funds into a special source for trees that would be there permanently and the kind of trees that we would want, I think is a wonderful plan. And I know all of our hearts go out to Ann. Thank you.
Well, Ann, I just want to offer my deepest sympathies to you. And I didn't know Todd, but I know if he's anything like you, he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And anything we can do to help, please let us know. And I think that's a wonderful idea to plant a grove in his honor. I will support that and help you with that in any way I can.
Director Eccles, did I see your hand up?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Yes, I have shared my condolences directly with Director Wieskamp, so I'll be brief. Yeah, you know, as I expressed, you have my most deepest heartfelt sympathies, and really anything we can do. And I'm really pleased that there is a concrete action that we can take to plant trees. And I'm absolutely in support of it, and I will do everything I can to make that happen.
Director Corbett.
And my thoughts and prayers and feelings are with you as a mom. I can't even imagine how hard this must be for you. So we're all here to support you. Our hearts are with you at whatever we can do to make sure we remember, that your loving son.
Just the same, and please, President Rosario, let me know what I can do and how I can participate. And also, Ann, let us all know if there's anything we can do.
Thank you, everyone. And on that note, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.